Welcome to another episode, Chosen One. Funny, isn't it? The way people talked about you like they had you fully figured out. Earth Angel, they said. All soft, all cute, all clueless. They threw that label on you thinking it would trap you in some quiet little corner where you'd stay harmless, predictable, easy to use. They thought calling you angelic would shrink you, not realizing they were basically handing you the perfect disguise. They forgot angels know how to fight. They forgot angels have seen more darkness than any of them could ever survive. They forgot angels are built for war, not decoration. And now look at them. Look who's shaking. Look who's whispering behind closed doors. Look who suddenly remembers every dirty thing they ever said about you, every time they played you, every time they enjoyed watching you hurt, because they assumed you'd never fight back. The same people who swore you were too nice to notice, too peaceful to question, too forgiving to push back. These geniuses really believed they broke you. Whole time you were evolving. Before we go deeper, Chosen One, hit the like button and subscribe. Pay this message back and strengthen this wave. Now let's get back to the truth they didn't want exposed. Because here's what's really messing them up. You didn't fold. You didn't melt. You didn't shatter like they expected. You got quiet. You got calm. And that scared them more than any explosion ever could. They didn't understand your silence wasn't defeat. It was strategy. It was the calm right before the universe rearranged the entire board in your favor. It was the moment a fighter wipes the blood from their mouth and says, "So, that all you got?" They loved calling you an Earth Angel when they thought you were harmless. But when the universe handed you your strength back, when your boundaries locked into place, when your energy stopped leaking into people who never deserved it, suddenly that same angel energy became terrifying to them. Because now they see what they were really dealing with. Not some fragile human decoration, but a quiet beast wrapped in kindness. A strategist disguised as softness. A fighter who learned their patterns so well, it's almost embarrassing for them. And Chosen One, don't pretend you didn't notice their panic. You saw the shift. You saw the fear. The same mouths that laughed at you suddenly fell silent. The same eyes that rolled at you started studying you. The same people who swore they didn't need you suddenly started acting like the world was ending because you finally stepped back. There's a moment every Chosen One experiences, that eerie silence after you walk away. The room feels different. The energy sharpens. The universe holds its breath for 1 second. And your enemies, they start glitching like broken NPCs because the whole simulation depended on your presence and they didn't even know it. They mistook your compassion for permission. They mistook your patience for weakness. They mistook your heart for a leash you'd never cut. Then one day you stopped feeding them and suddenly the angel they underestimated became the mirror they couldn't run from. They saw themselves clearly for the first time, and it was ugly. All their fake smiles, their manipulations, their secret jealousy, their quiet attacks. All of it came out in the light the second your energy stopped protecting them from their own chaos. You weren't their problem. You were the solution that kept their problems from eating them alive. Without you, the cracks showed, their relationships collapsed, their lies clashed, their ego panicked, their confidence leaked. They felt the universe tugging at them like time's up, lesson due. And don't worry, Chosen One, the universe saw everything they did in the dark, every insult masked as a joke, every betrayal disguised as miscommunication, every time they used your kindness as free emotional currency, like it was endless. But here's the twist that keeps them awake at night. You didn't expose them, you didn't clap back. You didn't drag them publicly or reveal their secrets. You let the universe handle it. You stepped aside and let karma swing without lifting a finger. And that's exactly why they fear you now. Because only someone truly powerful can sit back while the universe does the talking. Let me take you even deeper. Years ago, you had moments where you weren't this strong. Times where you begged people to stay. Times where you blamed yourself for other people's selfishness. Times where you thought being gentle meant being quiet. Times where you tried so hard to prove your worth to people who were already plotting to use it against you. You remember that one person who said, "You're too good for this world." They said it sweetly, but they meant it as an excuse to treat you like you didn't understand anything, like you were naive, like you were blind to their games. What they never realized is that you saw everything, you just didn't react. Not because you were weak, because you were gathering data. There's a story old fighters tell. The strongest warrior isn't the one who strikes first. It's the one who waits until the enemy thinks they've won. That was you. You let everyone underestimate you long enough for the truth to reveal itself. And now, chosen one, the reveal is happening in real time. The people who tried to use you, they're losing access to you. The ones who mocked you, they're choking on their own words. The ones who underestimated you, they're realizing you weren't quiet because you lacked power. You were quiet because you were building it. And the best part, your glow-up isn't loud, it's controlled, precise, icy. You're moving differently, thinking differently, feeling differently. You're not the earth angel they thought they could walk over. You're the earth angel the universe trained for battles they could never survive. Look at where you're standing now, not in the pain, not in the confusion, not in the chaos they threw at you. You're standing in the aftermath. The smoke has cleared. The universe is rearranging everything around you. The silence is your confirmation. Their panic is your proof. You became the very thing they swore you'd never be, untouchable. And now they're learning the truth the hard way. Calling you an earth angel didn't make you soft. It made you underestimated. And underestimated angels are the most dangerous forces the universe ever created. And chosen one, before we go any further, I want you to breathe for a second and really feel what's happening inside you right now. You're not here by accident. You're here because the universe is finally showing you the truth about who you are and what you survived. And if this message is hitting you in your chest, that's not weakness, that's recognition. That's your inner fighter waking up. So do me one thing to keep this energy alive. Hit the like button, subscribe, and drop a comment with the number 777 so the universe knows you're done letting people treat you like some soft earth angel they could walk over. Show the team behind this message some love too, if you can. Every gift, even the tiniest one, keeps this mission running and helps us bring more truth for people like you who needed someone to speak what everyone else was too scared to say. And now, chosen one. Let's walk into the real story, step by step. Trust me, if you've ever been underestimated, used, or mislabeled, you're going to feel pulled to stay until the very last word. Let's get into it. Number 1. The transformation that slapped them awake. Funny how they called you an angel? Right up until the moment the angel stopped playing nice and they realized who the real threat in the room was. Chosen one. This is the part that hits them the hardest. This is the shift they never prepared for, the plot twist that punched their ego straight in the throat. They pushed you, drained you, mocked you, and whispered to each other that sooner or later you would crumble like they do. They bet on your collapse. They waited for the moment you'd snap, fold, or fall apart so they could say, "See? Told you." They were never that strong. But the universe had other plans, and your story had a different turn written into it. Instead of breaking, you upgraded. Instead of collapsing, you awakened. Instead of losing yourself, you found the version of you they prayed would never show up. Look at the irony. They thought they were studying your weakness, but you were quietly studying their patterns. They assumed you were soft because you didn't fight dirty. They assumed you were fragile because you didn't throw your pain at other people. They assumed you were harmless because you tried to understand them instead of attacking them. But the truth is simple. You were never naive. You were patient. You were watching, observing, learning, and evolving under pressure they couldn't even survive for 5 minutes. Your heart didn't turn cold. It turned sharp. You didn't lose empathy. You learned who deserved it. You didn't lose trust. You started giving it to the right places. That alone shattered their whole image of you. Because the moment your awareness switched on, their power switched off. And let's be honest, they hate the new you because the old you benefited them. The old you overgave. The old you explained yourself to people who refused to listen. The old you tried to save relationships that were already dead. The old you forgave people who weren't even sorry. The old you ignored red flags because your heart led the way, not your strategy. The old you let them get away with treating you like some soft earth angel who didn't know how dark the world really was. Then one day, something snapped. A moment the universe had been shaping for months. A moment where you finally said, enough. A moment where your soul realized, I'm done being their emotional supply. And that's when the transformation began. You didn't just level up, you rewrote the entire rulebook they were using to control you. You started seeing people faster. You sensed lies before they left their mouths. You caught manipulation while it was still forming like poison vapor in the air. You developed this dangerous mix of kindness and precision. You became someone who could love deeply but walk away instantly once respect was gone. That is terrifying to people who depend on your softness to keep their illusions alive. They wanted an angel they could drain, not a warrior who could see the truth. What rattled them wasn't your anger, it was your discipline. Your silence became their punishment. Your distance became their karma. You didn't yell, you didn't fight, you didn't beg. You didn't chase anyone who ran. You simply stepped back, and the universe moved everything else for you. Now look at them, replaying everything, panicking, asking, how did we lose control? They didn't lose control. They never had it. You just finally woke up to your own power. Chosen one, I know a question pops into your mind. Why did they panic the moment I changed? Because your transformation exposed their character. Your upgrade revealed how low their intentions always were. When someone only liked you because you were easy to manipulate, your strength feels like betrayal to them. When someone only valued you because you never said no, your boundaries feel like violence to them. When someone only treated you kindly because it benefited them, your absence feels like punishment. They call you cold now. Isn't that cute? Cold, as if you suddenly stopped caring. Cold, as if you became heartless. Cold, as if you turned into something cruel. But coldness means numbness. And you are anything but numb. You feel everything deeply. You just stopped wasting those feelings on people who toss them on the floor like trash. You're not cold, you're clear. You're not distant, you're focused. You're not heartless, you're strategic. Every move you make now has intention behind it, and that terrifies the ones who only survived because you used to act without thinking. They were counting on your softness. They were counting on your guilt. They were counting on your old habits. But now, they're dealing with the updated version, the Earth Angel who learned how to fight. They whisper, "You've changed." But let's be real. You didn't change. You returned to yourself. Your transformation didn't create a new you. It revealed the real you they tried to bury with their projections, their insults, their expectations, and their fear of your potential. Think back to the past, chosen one. Remember the version of you who cried quietly, thinking you were losing everything. Remember the version of you who felt guilty for pulling back from people who were hurting you. Remember how you kept trying to explain your feelings to people who already decided they didn't want to understand. Now look at who you are today. Look at the strength in your silence. Look at the confidence in your distance. Look at the awareness in your choices. Look at the calm in your boundaries. That's not coldness, that's evolution. And let's address another question your heart might whisper. Why does my glow-up hurt them so much? Because your transformation removed the mask they were wearing. When you rose, you exposed who they truly were. Your growth reminded them of their stagnation. Your self-control reminded them of their chaos. Your clarity reminded them of the lies they told to keep you small. Your healing forced them to face the truth they ran from. Your transformation is their mirror, and they hate what they see. They didn't expect the earth angel they underestimated to become the warrior who remembers everything. You didn't burn bridges. You outgrew the roads they built to keep you trapped. You didn't cut them off. You cut the version of yourself they had access to. And now they're confused. Now they're offended. Now they're scared because they finally understand something they refuse to believe. You were never the weak one. You were the stable one. You were never the naive one. You were the loyal one. You were never the fragile one. You were the one carrying the emotional weight of the entire relationship. Your transformation wasn't revenge. It was survival. It was clarity. It was destiny. This is the part of your story where your enemies look up and whisper, "What have we done?" And the universe answers for you. Chosen one, this transformation they never saw coming, this is only the beginning. Number 2, the loss they built with their own hands. People don't lose angels by accident. They lose them by playing stupid games and pretending they won. Funny how they blame you for walking away, but never mention the fire they kept throwing you into. They didn't lose you. They lost access to the version of you that kept saving them. Some people don't realize what they destroyed until the universe makes them sit alone with the ashes. Chosen one, this part hits deeper than they'll ever admit. This isn't just about your absence. This is about the collapse they caused themselves while thinking they were invincible. They didn't just lose your presence. They lost your protection, your clarity, your emotional intelligence, your stability, your ability to calm storms they didn't even acknowledge. They lost the person who saw their potential even when they were drowning in their own toxic habits. They lost the only voice that wasn't lying to them. They didn't just lose you. They lost the version of their life that worked. And the wildest part? They think you walking away was sudden, as if the universe hadn't been warning them for months. As if your silence didn't speak louder than anything you ever said. As if you didn't give them chance after chance until your soul said, enough. Imagine this. Someone drops a diamond into their hand, treats it like pocket lint, then starts crying when it disappears. That's them. They acted like your energy was cheap. They acted like your patience would never run out. They acted like they could keep taking pieces of you without ever giving a single piece back. They thought you were their emotional insurance policy, unlimited coverage, zero cost, zero responsibility. Now imagine the same person waking up one day, realizing the diamond isn't there anymore, and suddenly the world looks different. Their confidence feels like cardboard. Their excuses don't work. Their chaos has no cleanup crew. Their wounds have no healer. Their life loses that strange sense of peace they couldn't quite explain. That's what your absence did. It exposed everything they were hiding from themselves. Let's hit a question that might be echoing in your mind. Did I really matter that much to them? Oh, chosen one, you weren't just important. You were the glue, the emotional architecture, the ground they stood on without ever noticing the foundation came from you. They didn't just lose you. They lost the stability you carried like second nature. You were the one picking up the emotional debris they scattered everywhere. You were the one helping them make sense of a life they refused to take responsibility for. You were the one who kept their worst impulses from destroying everything they touched. You were the one who saw their potential, even when they buried it under ego, fear, and games. You saw what they could become. They only saw what they could take. And now, they're alone with the chaos they created. The same chaos they kept pretending wasn't theirs. The same mess they dumped on you and expected you to clean forever. Let's paint another picture. Imagine a firefighter running into burning buildings for someone every single day, and all that person did was complain about the smoke. That's how they treated you. You weren't just helping. You were saving them from themselves, and they never realized the danger they kept putting you in. Chosen one, let me answer another silent question. Why do they act like the victim now? Because admitting they caused the loss requires maturity they don't have. It requires accountability they run from. It requires honesty they've never practiced. It requires seeing themselves clearly, and that's the one thing they refuse to do. So instead, they rewrite history. They spin stories. They twist timelines. They distort conversations. They make themselves the hero and you the villain because facing the truth would break them in ways they can't handle. They'll say you were unreasonable. They'll say you were changing. They'll say you were too sensitive. They'll say anything except the sentence that actually matters. I messed up something good. But don't get it twisted. Deep down, they know exactly why you left. You didn't quit on them, they quit on themselves. They had someone who would have walked through fire for them and they complained about the smoke. They had someone who showed up on their worst days and they acted like your loyalty was annoying. They had someone who tried to communicate, understand, and rebuild, and they chose ego over connection every single time. Imagine this, a person standing in a garden that blooms because of the care you poured into it. They never watered it. They never tended it. They just enjoyed the beauty. Then one day, you stop tending the garden, and everything dies. Now they blame the garden, not their lack of effort. That's them. They killed the connection, but blame the loss. Now imagine another scene, a person holding an umbrella you were sheltering them with. You close it. Finally. And suddenly they feel the rain they never knew was falling. That's what your absence did. It revealed reality. Chosen one, here's another question you might feel rising. Do they miss me, or do they miss what I did for them? You already know the answer. They miss the comfort, the stability, the peace, the emotional effort they never matched. They miss the version of themselves that existed because of your presence. They miss the life that only functioned because of your energy. They miss the version of reality you built for them, not because they earned it, but because you cared. And here's the twist the universe loves. Now they finally have to sit with themselves. No one to blame. No one to hide behind. No one to cover the consequences of their choices. This is the loss they created with their own hands. They lit the match. They burned the bridge. They destroyed the one safe place they had. And here's the metaphor they'll never forget. Imagine someone punching a hole in their own boat, and the moment they start sinking, they scream at the ocean for being wet. That's them. They sabotage themselves and then look for someone else to blame. Chosen one, the universe didn't remove you as punishment. It removed you as protection for your sanity, for your growth, for your evolution, for the life you're about to build without their dead weight pulling you under. And let me address one more question your heart might whisper late at night. Did I do the right thing by leaving? Yes, 1,000 times, yes. You didn't walk away from them. You walked back to yourself. You walked back to peace. You walked back to clarity. You walked back to the version of you that knows its worth and refuses to negotiate it ever again. They didn't just lose someone good. They lost someone rare. They lost someone irreplaceable. They lost someone who could have changed their entire life if they were willing to change with you. And now they face the truth. The loss wasn't something that happened to them. The loss was something they created, and the universe made sure they felt every inch of it. Number 3, your heart evolved into a weapon they can't get close to anymore. They thought breaking your heart would weaken you. Instead, it rebuilt itself into something that can slice through every lie they ever told. A naive heart is easy to use. A refined heart is impossible to trick. They didn't fear losing you. They feared the day you finally saw them clearly. Kindness mixed with wisdom becomes the deadliest weapon in the room. Chosen one, this part is where their panic reaches a whole new level. This is the fear they don't talk about. This is the nightmare they created with their own hands. They spent years poking, prodding, testing, pushing, trying to figure out where your breaking point was. They wanted to see if you'd snap. They wanted to see if your kindness had a limit. They wanted to know how far they could bend you before you shattered. What they didn't expect was that your heart wasn't breaking. It was learning. It wasn't hardening. It was refining. It wasn't dying. It was upgrading. The version of you they were playing with wasn't your final form. It was your training stage. Let's break this down the way your old self never could. For so long they mistook your kindness for softness. They thought your love made you blind. They assumed your forgiveness made you forget. They believed your loyalty meant you'd never see the truth. But your heart wasn't naive. It was observant. It was collecting data, patterns, red flags, subtle energy shifts. Your heart became the most advanced lie detector the universe could craft. Before someone can even form the sentence, you already feel the dishonesty twisting in the air. Imagine this. Someone smiles at you, thinking they're hiding their motives behind their teeth. But your heart sees straight through the expression like X-ray vision. That's the upgrade they never anticipated. You feel energy shifts faster than they can fake their tone. You sense tension before they even enter the room. You know when someone's loyalty is cracking before they even admit it to themselves. A wise heart is dangerous, and they know it. It's dangerous to people who rely on manipulation. It's dangerous to people who survive by hiding the truth. It's dangerous to people who assume the other person will stay clueless forever. Your heart used to give them the benefit of the doubt. Now, it gives them nothing but consequences. Let me answer a question I know you've silently asked yourself. How did I go from being the one they used to the one they fear? Because you stopped operating on emotion alone. You started operating on intuition, awareness, and truth. That combination terrifies people who were only strong when you were blind. Imagine this. Once upon a time, your heart was like an open garden. Anyone could wander through, pick what they wanted, even trample the flowers a little, and you'd still water it again tomorrow. Now, that garden has transformed into something else. The gate is locked. The soil is guarded. The air feels different. Anyone who approaches with bad intentions feels the warning signs instantly. That's your heart now. Not closed, but protected. Not hardened, but intelligent. They whisper about you now. It's almost funny. How did someone so gentle become so unreachable? How did someone so forgiving become impossible to fool? How did the earth angel become the one force we can't manipulate anymore? It's simple. You became the version of yourself you needed to survive them. For years, you thought you were too emotional, too trusting, too soft, too open, too sensitive. But here's the truth. Your sensitivity was never the issue. The issue was that they kept weaponizing it, so the universe stepped in. It didn't numb your heart, it sharpened it. It didn't turn you cold, it turned you accurate. It didn't make you stop feeling, it made you feel correctly. Imagine this. Someone lies to you today, and you don't even wait for the story to unravel. You already know, not because you're paranoid, not because you're bitter, but because your heart has studied human intention like a master strategist. You can spot inconsistency the way a hunter spots movement in the distance. And here's another silent question you've asked yourself. Why do I feel so different now? Because your heart isn't offering unconditional access anymore. It checks motives, energy, patterns, tone, consistency, and effort before allowing anyone in. That's not cold, that's brilliance. Your heart figured out what your old self never understood. Not everyone deserves emotional entry. Not everyone deserves your loyalty. Not everyone deserves your softness. And that realization alone made you unreachable to people who depended on your weaknesses. Let me paint another picture. Imagine a treasure chest on the ocean floor. Everyone thinks it's easy to access until they dive down and realize they're not strong enough to reach it, not skilled enough to open it, not worthy enough to claim it. That's you now. People still want the treasure, but the requirements to access it have changed. You can still love deeply, but you don't tolerate disrespect. You can still forgive, but you don't forget patterns. You can still give, but not to people who take without returning anything. This shift, this evolution, it didn't make you less of an angel. It made you the kind angels become after they've survived the storm. The heart they tried to break is the weapon that now protects you. You know why they fear you now, because they can't influence your emotions anymore, because they can't guilt you into staying, because they can't confuse you with sweet words, because they can't slide back into your life with half effort and expect full access. Your heart learned them. Your heart decoded them. Your heart built boundaries around itself like armor forged in fire. And chosen one, let me answer the biggest question every awakened soul asks. Will my heart ever go back to how it was? No, and it shouldn't. Your old heart was beautiful, but unprotected. Your new heart is powerful and impossible to use. This version of you can love without losing yourself, can care without collapsing, can notice red flags without bargaining with pain, can walk away without tearing yourself apart. Imagine this final metaphor, a sword forged from metal that survived the hottest flames. It's still metal, still capable of being shaped, but now it holds an edge that cannot be dulled by careless hands. That's your heart now, tested, sharpened, and indestructible. And the people who once relied on your softness, they feel that edge now. They feel the distance. They feel the upgraded version of you, the version they can't manipulate, can't drain, can't deceive. They don't fear losing your love. They fear losing the control they once had over your love. But here's the final truth. Your heart didn't evolve to hurt them. It evolved to protect you, to guide you, to expose them, to free you. And now, chosen one, that evolved heart is the one thing they can never touch again. It's the weapon they forged through their own actions. It's the shield the universe gave you when you needed it most. And it's the reason the earth angel they underestimated has become the force they fear. The heart they tried to break is the heart that now ends the cycle. And this is only the beginning of their lesson. Number 4, the fear that eats them alive, your indifference. They can handle your anger, but they will never survive your silence. Nothing scares a manipulator more than realizing they no longer have emotional access to the person they once controlled. Your indifference is the obituary of their influence. When an angel stops caring, the whole world of the one who hurt them collapses. Chosen one. This is the one that hits their spine like ice. This is the part they whisper about when no one is around. This is their deepest panic, the fear that crawls under their skin at night when they replay everything they did. Because anger, they can work with that. Anger means you still care. Anger means you're still connected. Anger means they still affect you. But indifference? Your indifference is a funeral bell. It means the cord is cut. The game is over. Access denied. Their control evaporated. You walked out of their universe, closed the door, locked it, and didn't even bother to check if they were still standing on the other side. Imagine this. Someone keeps pressing buttons on a machine that no longer turns on. They slam them harder, thinking force will bring it back to life. But nothing happens. The machine doesn't react, doesn't glitch, doesn't spark. Just silence. That's you now. Their old tricks don't work. Their tone doesn't work. Their guilt tactics don't work. Their tears don't work. Their excuses don't work. You've disconnected completely, and the emptiness they feel isn't your absence. It's the collapse of their illusion of power. Let me answer the first question rising in your mind. Why does my indifference bother them more than my anger ever did? Because your anger gave them relevance. Your silence gives them reality. When you cared, even in pain, they felt important. When you reacted, they felt powerful. When you tried to fix things, they felt desired. When you cried, they felt superior. But when you became indifferent, you took back everything they used to fuel their ego. You didn't scream. You didn't warn them. You didn't negotiate. You just stepped out, quietly, calmly, completely. That's when their world tilted. The moment an earth angel gets tired, the universe moves them and leaves the wrong people behind. Imagine this. A lamp that lit someone's entire room suddenly switches off. They thought the world got darker, but really, the light just stopped shining in their direction. That's your glow. They didn't expect to notice its absence. They didn't expect it to matter. But the moment your energy pulled away, they realized how much of their life depended on it. They didn't expect you to rise. They didn't expect you to outgrow them. They didn't expect you to glow from the inside out while their own world dimmed. They didn't expect your evolution to make their connection pointless. Chosen one, you think your growth went unnoticed. Your silence screamed. Your calm radiated. Your peace exposed their chaos. Your glow-up showed them exactly what they could have had and lost. Let me paint another image. Imagine someone who spent months chipping at a marble statue, criticizing every flaw, mocking every crack. Then suddenly, a master sculptor takes over and reveals the masterpiece underneath. The person who mocked it now stands there, stunned, realizing they never saw the real value. That's them. They chipped at you, belittled you, underestimated you, and now they're looking at the evolved you like, wait, how did I fumble this? Your indifference is their punishment, not revenge, not spite. Punishment, through the absence of something extraordinary they never understood. And let's hit another question your heart might whisper. Do they regret losing me? Oh, chosen one, regret is too light of a word. They're haunted, because here's the truth they don't tell anyone. They didn't think you'd rise without them. They didn't think you'd rebuild. They didn't think you'd glow so brightly that their memory looks dim by comparison. They didn't think their absence would bring you peace instead of pain. They thought you'd crumble. Instead, you transformed. Imagine this scene. Someone leaves a house believing you'll sit in the dark, crying. Instead, you renovate the entire place, install gold floors, add massive windows, build a garden, hang art, bring in light, upgrade everything. And when they try to walk back in, they realize their old key doesn't fit anymore. That's the metaphor for your life. You upgraded so hard, they don't even recognize the world you live in. You didn't lose yourself, you found yourself. And that terrifies them because deep down, they always knew you were powerful, but not like this. They feared you becoming aware of your own worth because that would mean losing access to everything you gave them for free. Your empathy, your loyalty, your emotional intelligence, your healing presence, your forgiveness, your support, your patience, your unconditional energy, your heart. They're terrified now because they see what you became without them, and it proves what they denied for so long. You were the source. You were the strength. You were the glow. You were the stability. You were the magic. The version of you that emerged from the fire isn't cold. It's untouchable. Now here's another silent question you might have. Why does it feel like the universe made me let go instead of fight? Because you weren't walking away from them? You were walking back to yourself, your real self, your higher self, your evolved self. The version of you that's standing here today didn't come from being loved right. It came from being pushed too far. It came from being undervalued. It came from being misunderstood. It came from being used as a lifeline. It came from being drained until you finally said, never again. And the moment you said that, everything shifted. You didn't just detach from them. You detached from the old identity that tolerated them. Your indifference is proof of your evolution. Proof that you've seen too much, learned too much, grown too much to ever go back. Proof that you no longer operate on emotion alone. You operate on clarity. Imagine this last picture. A bird that used to sit in a cage, singing for people who never appreciated its voice. One day, the cage door opens, not because the person changed, but because the bird did. It realizes it can fly, and once it flies, it never returns to the cage. The cage becomes irrelevant. That's what happened to you. They weren't the reason you stayed, and they aren't the reason you left. You left because your wings finally remembered their purpose, and now they're terrified, not of losing you, but of knowing you'll never look back. Your indifference isn't just silence. It's closure, it's power, it's evolution. It's the final chapter of a story they can't rewrite. And chosen one, the version of you that emerged, untouchable, unreachable, unapologetic, and absolutely unforgettable. Number 5, the irony they can't outrun, outhide, or outtalk. They called you an angel to make themselves feel safe, not knowing angels carry swords sharper than their excuses. The same people who praised your light are now choking on the smoke from the fire they awakened. They wanted your softness without ever meeting your spine. The irony is simple. They feared your darkness, not realizing your light was the thing protecting them from it. Chosen one, This whole chapter is the punchline the universe saved for later. The irony is so thick it's almost poetic if it wasn't so embarrassing for them, because they're finally learning what you already knew. The world never gave you your strength. You earned it, and you earned it the hard way. And the people who underestimated you, they're living in the consequences of their own miscalculation. Let's dive into this slowly, because this irony deserves to be dissected like a fine art piece of karmic comedy. They called you an earth angel. Cute, right? Not because they respected you, not because they valued you, not because they understood you. They called you that because it made them feel safe. If they labeled you gentle, then they wouldn't have to fear your boundaries. If they labeled you pure, then they could justify using you. If they labeled you forgiving, then they could betray you without consequences. If they labeled you peaceful, then they could assume you'd never fight back. They only ever saw the parts of you that served them. The warmth, the softness, the patience, the healing energy. The calm you brought into their chaotic world, the emotional oxygen you kept pumping into them even as they suffocated you. But they never looked deeper. They didn't want to. Because if they faced the fullness of who you are, they'd see the truth they were never ready for. Your kindness wasn't weakness, it was restraint. Your empathy wasn't naivete, it was strategy. Your patience wasn't vulnerability, it was discipline. Your light wasn't softness, it was fire they simply didn't get burned by yet. Imagine this. A person befriends a sleeping lion because the lion looks peaceful. They pet it, tug at its mane, kick dust in its face, laugh at it, assuming it will never wake up. But the day the lion stretches, opens its eyes, and stands up, suddenly friendship isn't enough to protect them. That's the moment they're in with you now. They ignored the fire behind your light. They ignored the backbone behind your kindness. They ignored the resilience carved into your soul from years they never witnessed. They met the healer and forgot the healer only exists because the warrior survived hell first. You were always both a healer and a warrior, soft and sharp, light and thunder, compassionate and unbreakable, but they only wanted the healer version, the version that comforted them, the version that forgave them, the version that understood their pain even when they didn't care about yours. The version that kept absorbing their darkness until your own heart started dimming. And now, finally, the warrior side has awakened. Let me hit the question rising in your mind. Did I really have this strength the whole time? Yes, you always did, but you didn't activate it until they forced you to. Your warrior was not born from peace. Your warrior was born from mistreatment, betrayal, and the quiet nights when you held yourself together with nothing but willpower. Your warrior came from surviving things you never told anyone about. Your warrior rose every time you kept loving in rooms that didn't love you back. And here's the cruel, delicious irony. They activated the very version of you that can live without them. They cracked the shell around your potential. They unlocked your strength. They sharpened your purpose. They pushed you into the version of yourself that sees through everything. They created the very outcome they feared most. Let me paint another picture. Imagine someone breaking the lock on a treasure chest because they wanted to steal a few coins. But when the chest opens, instead of coins, there's gold so bright it blinds them. That's your identity. They didn't expect your depth. They didn't expect your power. They didn't expect the warrior sleeping under your kindness. They thought losing you would be an inconvenience, a temporary discomfort, something they could fix whenever they wanted access again. They expected you to wait. They expected you to soften. They expected you to forgive on command. They expected you to return like you always did. They never expected this. They never expected you. The loss of someone like you isn't seasonal. It's permanent damage. Chosen one, this is where their irony becomes their punishment. Now they're learning, brutally, that losing someone like you is not something a person recovers from. It's a lifelong consequence. It's a before and after moment. It's a shift in their reality that can't be undone. They don't miss you like a person. They miss you like a lifeline. They miss you like a shield. They miss you like the last person who believed in their potential. They miss you like the only person who saw through their wounds instead of judging them for it. They miss the safety, the peace, the guidance, the grounding, the emotional stability you gave them without them even noticing. But the irony, they only realize this now, after they lost you, after the universe separated you, after the warrior in you rose, after your shine no longer warms them. Now they sit with the truth they tried to outrun. You didn't need them. They needed you. You didn't depend on their presence. They depended on your strength. You didn't crumble without them. They collapsed without you. You didn't get weaker. You got free. Let me answer the last question your heart whispers sometimes. Why did the universe pull me away so completely? Because chosen one, you were healing them while they were hurting you. You were uplifting them while they were draining you. You were watering people who refused to water anything back. The universe didn't separate you as punishment. It separated you as protection. It separated you so your warrior could rise without being dragged back into the roles that kept you small. And now they're stuck with the one truth they can't escape. They didn't just lose a person. They lost the rarest energy they will ever encounter. They lost the healer and the warrior. They lost the angel and the fire. And that irony, that devastating, humiliating irony, will follow them for the rest of their life, because losing someone like you isn't just a mistake, it's a lifelong sentence. Number 6, the ending they never expected. Chosen one. Here's the truth they'll never admit out loud. You didn't change into someone new. You finally stopped pretending to be someone smaller. You stopped dimming your power so insecure people could feel tall. You stopped carrying the emotional weight for people who had no intention of growing. You stopped letting them call you too much when the real issue was they were too little to stand next to someone real. And that shift? That was the ending they never saw coming. Now you exist in a world they can't access, a mindset they can't comprehend, a life they can't enter, no matter how many memories they replay. You built a version of yourself that their energy, their patterns, their intentions simply cannot reach. And that distance, that silence, is not revenge. It's alignment. The universe placed you where you always belonged and placed them exactly where their choices earned them. Your absence is the justice they created for themselves, not because you were unworthy, because they were unprepared to meet someone real, someone evolved, someone who refuses to shrink ever again. And that, chosen one, is the ending they never expected, and the beginning of everything you deserved. So, chosen one, if you've made it to the end, then you already know this truth. You were never the fragile one. You were the force the whole time, and now the universe is finally aligning everything in your favor. Walk forward with that new power and never shrink for anyone again. And if this message hit you in the chest, press that like button if you haven't already. And if you're still not part of our family, make sure you smash that subscribe button so you never miss another message built for your rise.